about the UK and the North London, I was actually working against, I stood up to breaking a ban with this international terrorist ring that has linked to Germany and other places. And I lost my best friend, a policeman. I got into hospital and stuff like that. And after that, I was actually in captivity in Litauen because I got jacked by KGB in Copenhagen. And somewhere around there, I was asking um, at that time Clinton called U.S. Embassy transferred to Washington D.C. About trying attempt to make peace in North Ireland. And I was a monitor for that for quite some years and spoke at different places about it. I was in the field and I was also in Ireland in '91 and had some bad experience with the musician in Ireland and also um, on a beach in Ireland. And I'm a little like UK, Ireland, and United States didn't really pay, or Denmark didn't get the money to me. They took the money, I think. So basically, I was left with nothing. I never was like, I also made some missing person things in Österreich and US. The money never reached. So I'm a little, you know, disappointed. But at one time, I was in London and I asked to get, I was sleeping in the hotel wing in Windsor. Um, and I packed up the next day and left, going on the peace process. I'm very proud actually that the peace process became a reality because I think that also from hearing afterwards, finding missing person, I heard some interview on both sides of the defense, how mad this was and how gruesome that civil war was. I heard that they had starved people inside their homes. I heard that all of that. I really, really some of the film make in that period. Harrison Ford, for example, shows exactly what it is. It's gruesome. War is gruesome, and terrorism is even more gruesome because you are entrust your society and trust your everyday life. You might not have any opinion about what's going on. You might just be, carry out your duties and going home to family, and your whole life is turned upside down, and it will never be the same. And I think it's unfair. Um, it's I think that the reason why all military do not like terrorism is because it's a violation of the law. There's some regulation of war that I mean they're not always kept, but there are some regulations say you cannot target civilians, you cannot target hospitals, and so on. Food supplies, energy supply stuff, and actually, when they do, you can after go to court, and they do that. They go to, like, you have the court of Nuremberg, which I know something about. You have the court of Yugoslavia, so it's not that you can get away with everything. There's a lot of regulation in war, also about, um, and I even know from the field that soldiers that dies in war, some dies by inflict of accident. You could say accident is not, but it's a something is dropped or placed and you die. But there's also another scenery is that you get to know the opposite. You get to know the soldiers in the field, and there are some people that really are evil. There are some bad people going into war, and they might sometimes get hit, you know, because there's a strange moral in war sometimes that we don't want, and nobody really wants a lot of suffering, and the most people wants to go home. And then there are some people who just want other people to suffer, and they're not exactly like, you know. So there's a sort of strange logic in it, you know. Even in the nature, there's a sort of fear of the fears, you know. So I'm actually happy about that very, very gruesome war in Northern Ireland. And it actually spread out to Latin America, to Spain, because it was a success that showed other places that stability is worth it. You get investment for working, you get business up going, you got people educated, and so on. So war is a short scenography, but it doesn't have any solution. It doesn't it doesn't educate people. It doesn't bring jobs to the area. And I think some people forget about that when they talk about war or talk against Russia or talk against the United States. They forget that it's when you're really tough on Russia or tough on the United States, you also cut off business. And you can only do that if you don't have a business. Otherwise, you would kind of be polite to your supplier or your customers. And that's why I really don't like uh, people that doesn't really have a reality of business and jobs creation. If they are beginning, if it's just opinion, like I don't like you, but who are you not liking and for what? So I actually think that growth is peace, you know. And then personally, I think sometimes I can feel when they have stolen my kid and my money, and some days when things are really tough, and the phone is totally provocating and stuff, I can also feel like, okay, guys, you want it, you get it, you know. But reason on that, you know. I always say UN is a good buffer zone. If UN can correct the country, I'm happy, you know. And I sometimes also need like a buffer zone on this violation of my son and the money. I need somebody to buff against, you know, because I can also, like, it's been a 15 years old explore of my talent, my time. I'm almost like a traded human being, you know. My son is where, you know. So basically, I need the buffer zone to say, like, UN, can you try and look into Denmark and its human right and the whitewash and all this shit? Because if I do, I will be angry. So UN is a guarantee for weak state, weak leadership, you know, because they don't get the guarantee from me, you know. And basically they wouldn't get the guarantee for the superpowers, which will say, hey, fix your problem, and if they don't do it, they will come hard, you know. So if you understand what I mean by the fraction. So you can use tools in war, like first you call people in and say, hey, you're lying about this, or you don't secure this, you have illegal activity, or you are crossing human rights. Or and if they don't listen, you can use other tools, like you can tax some things, you can stop things from going in, and so on. There's a lot of tools that also UN uses. And finally, you might go in to hit some of the places that are trouble, that could be weapon places. And there are some of laws of war that make you try and get some solution, some negotiation without the civil suffering. That's the rule number one, right? Good night, anyway. I think you might have seen the pictures from the beach. I'm not sure what it is really. It looks not very nice. And it might be a plant and it might be worse. I don't know for sure what it is. You figure it out. Nobody I can ask here would know. They wouldn't tell me, I think.